Hello and welcome to Sometimes Video Games. I'm Adam, and I'm here with Ramsey Kharroubi, otherwise known as Marskye, probably known for composing soundtracks like Lara Croft Go or Nog, but most importantly, Boyfriend Dungeon, a recent game from Kitfox. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Hello, Adam. Thanks for having me.
Yes, wonderful. It's nice to have you. So, first of all, we want to start off with something that's kind of a tradition with Sometimes Video Games. We love talking about food. We've had people on before. We've asked them what kind of crisps or chips for ICU, what kind of crisps or chips the guys like, that sort of thing. But here's the go-to question, which is, what are your top 3 fruits?
Ooh. Okay. I'm thrown off guard.
It is. It's one of those.
Probably strawberries is one. I want to say banana and then mango.
Mango?
Probably.
Mango is a messy one, though, isn't it? You gotta know how to open it. And...
Yeah, exactly. That's the secret. So once you know how to open it, mangoes are the way to go. It's also, when they're just like so ripe and so sweet, there's nothing better than a mango, honestly.
I agree. Mango is incredible, actually. Mango's really good. I love mango.
I like them when they're sour too, Like I
really?
love mangoes, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So do we need to ask, how did you get involved in Boyfriend Dungeon at all?
Yeah, in 2017, I just finished Nog, and the company that made Nog, they're called Co-op. They share at the time they shared an office in Montreal with Kitfox, so they were actually in the same building. And I should backtrack just a little more than that. I actually met Tanya, who's the director on Boyfriend Dungeon. She's the captain. I met her in 2012, I think, and in Montreal. But we didn't work together. She knew I was working with Co-op, but we were just like acquaintances. And then fast forward to when Nog is released. Kitfox is sharing the office with Co-op. She's the head of Kitfox. And so she's hearing my music being played from their offices, and she's seeing Nog, and she's like, oh, Nog is, looks cool, sounds cool. I know Ramsey. And, so she talked with Co-op's studio director at the time, or currently, Salim, and he put me in touch with her. The rest is history, pretty much.
You say there were noise, you said it was loud. They could hear you from the other room. The noise complaints were like, oh, he's playing that song again. Stop it.
Yeah, but thankfully they were. It was pleasant noises. They were pleasantly surprised. They were like, oh, this is interesting. Sounds cool. Nog sounds different. Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah. So the soundtrack for Boyfriend Dungeon, I would say, isn't your traditional video game soundtrack. It sounds more like a pop album than an OST. Would be, especially there's not orchestration or anything. There's a lot of synth going on and guitar. So what's your inspiration for music personally? What inspires you to make music?
It's like what inspires me in general is the feeling I get from working on music. I think I get into a certain flow state where I just forget about everything else. And I just become focused on music, and it's my other problems kind of melt away, and just kind of getting that feeling. The fact that I can get it through actually work is incredible. But that's the feeling that's the high that I chase, and that honestly pushes me to make more tracks. But also collaborating with artists like Madeline. Her vocals brought so much to the soundtrack. I don't think nobody would like the soundtrack the way they like it if it was just instrumental. That's just, a true statement. And so working with her was so inspiring, because that was the first time I had ever put vocals to any of my music, and that's the first time I've ever worked with vocals. So that was a learning experience in itself. And I'd say the whole project was really a big learning experience for me in terms of the goals that I had set out to do, and then the tools that I was given. So I hope that kind of answers.
It does. It also answers my next question, which was, what is it like working with Madeline McQueen? But to build on that, you say it was the first time using vocals What made you want to use vocals in this?
Well, I actually hadn't even thought about them. Tanya was had the idea from the start. So she, the moment she contacted me, she said she was hoping to have vocals to be a part of the game. We at the time we didn't know how much, but we were thinking a pretty significant part. And her words were to bridge the human element in the game, and I just kind of like grabbed onto that, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense, because the story is so rambunctious and the characters are so turning into weapons and stuff. So it really that's the so it was her suggestion. That's basically
that's cool. So how much did how did you get involved with Madeline, and how did she come onto the project? Was it recommended by Tanya or by someone else, or?
Yeah, it was recommended by my friend, one of my tight friends. He's also an artist. He has a do you mind if I do any shout outs or any plugs or anything? Cool. His name is Matt Battle, and he has a band called Gold Koa. I actually love his music. He inspires my stuff, and so he's one of my tight friends, and he put me in touch with Madeline. He just knows, he has good connections or whatever. Yeah, and so he's a local. He actually lives in LA now, but he's a local here and in Rochester, and he put me in touch with Madeline. And I mean, we met up, and pretty soon after we were recording. It was like fast. It happened in a cinch. He showed me a few videos of some different, or just online. He was just showing me different vocalists that he knew, and I saw Madeline. And do you know Flume?
I do know Flume, yes.
She had a cover of a Flume song. And it was so good. I was just like, oh man, this is great. And I feel like she's right. And we ran with that. So
she definitely fits very well on the soundtrack, I think.
Oh yeah.
Who was involved in writing the lyrics, and was it you or was that her, or?
99%, 98% Madeline, with the themes and the concepts of the lyrics themselves coming from Tanya, I would say.
Wow. That's interesting. So, in terms of
but the lyrics are, sorry to interrupt. The lyrics are from scratch by Madeline.
Mm-hmm. Of course. So in terms of the music and I guess a bit of the lyrics, I was sort of taking into account both, because I wasn't sure whether you were as heavily into the lyric side of things or not. Mm-hmm. How did the game itself lend any inspiration, like the game and the characters and the environments of the game, like help towards making the music and the lyrics and that sort of thing? What was your process in
that? So it was kind of Tanya gave me and Madeline the themes, and then Madeline would write the lyrics. So it's kind of hard to describe, because the game, Tanya reached out to me in 2017, right? And the game just launched in 2021. So it's been like a 4-year almost journey kind of to get to this point, right? But so actually the music kind of, in a weird way, inspired the game. I don't want to say like too much, but yeah, basically like the game wasn't far long enough when I had started making the soundtrack. So we had to like rely on like the story and aspects of the characters and the cast like weren't really fleshed out when I started writing the soundtrack. So I had a lot of the soundtrack finished before the game was even ready to play. So I hadn't even played a build until like way later, in the development, like a year or two after. And so as far as like the themes and the characters being inspired by the lyrics and vice versa, I'd say probably the music inspired more of the game, because I was writing the songs and then they were hearing them, and then they were hearing Madeline's vocals, and then the game would be like continually developed kind of in that order, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. So in what way do you think like your songs actually help change the characters? So did you see it build, I guess, from like you were writing a song and then a certain character would change based on how you've written a theme around them or around there? What sort of thing would change?
I don't think that stark. I don't think that drastic, but I think like just little aesthetic stuff, just like maybe if a song sounded a little darker or a little dancier, you know, it's like more of just an aesthetic, like artistic touches here and there. Nothing drastic like, oh, a character's motivate, you know.
Of course.
Not on that level. Yeah. But just little influences to the art. I'm sure the soundtrack had some hand in. Yeah, for sure.
There's an item in the game called Marskye cologne.
Yeah.
What's Marskye's cologne?
You know, strawberry banana mango, maybe. I don't know.
Strawberry banana mango, exactly. It's a nice smell, tropical, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tropical food. I don't know. I'd probably be like a sandalwood or something along those lines. Yeah, some kind of incensey, spicy smell.
That's the one.
I had no idea about the Marskye cologne until the release day.
Oh, sure. Yeah, there's a Marskye and there's a McQueen one as well, I think.
Yes. Okay. No, I saw. Yeah. Very cool.
Do you appreciate being referenced in the game as a character in the...
Oh, yeah.
I guess you're a character in the universe now.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. I'm so flattered. Like, to be in a video game and then, you know, you're on a Switch or you're on a piece. It's cool. Yeah.
I guess that leans on, if you're a character in that universe, are you a weapon? Are you able to transfer into a weapon?
I've thought long and hard about what kind of weapon I would be, and I just don't know. I just don't have... I would leave it up to Boyfriend Dungeon's artists and producers to...
They know best.
To make me... I'm sure they can think of any, you know... I just can't think of anything that would suit my personality. I want to say like a dagger, but there's already a dagger in the game, so yeah.
I'm sure there are multiple daggers out there, though. Maybe.
Yeah. I feel like I'm some kind of Arabian dagger because I just have, you know, my Arabian heritage. Yes. So something in there.
Wonderful.
In that realm.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So the game does sort of lean heavily on identities and minorities, mostly in the form of potential homosexual relationships, but also with gender identities. I just wondered if there was any experiences that you've had as a Palestinian American writing music or within the games industry that have affected you in any way.
In as far as discrimination?
Well, I suppose.
It could be like in general.
Yeah, just like your vision of like being, I guess, you in the game. I don't know how common Palestinian American people are within the games industry.
I would say not common whatsoever. I mean, there's a handful of us, and most of us know each other. So that's the. I'd say like I'm a minority in the games industry for sure. You know, I've had mostly a good experience, but there's a lot of factors involved. You know, my privilege. I'm a male. You know, there's different. I've had like an okay. I've had what you could say is like your typical games indie industry experience. I don't have any AAA. I don't even speak to that. I don't even know what that's like. The AAA world is completely alien to me. I basically just write music in my bedroom. So it's
that's fair.
Yeah. That's my big world take on it. You know, but I think there should be more representation in games for sure. I mean, that's just goes without saying. Palestinians are very underrepresented, as are a lot of other groups. And as far as in games specifically, I'd say Palestinians have some of the worst representation, and along with, you know, much of the Middle East. Because if you just look at some of the most popular shooters, you know, just kind of like, based off that, and those have mass appeal and stuff. But that world is so far from me, and I don't even associate it. Like the games that I'm working on.
They're very different, aren't they, I guess?
You're never going to find me ever writing music for an Activision or whatever. Not because I don't want, it's just, you know, they're not looking for people like me.
No, you never know. Like this might...
Yeah.
I think music's... It's difficult to say because I listen to quite a bit of game music generally. I'm a big fan of music. So I listen to game music as well. And like there are things happening... I see there are things happening. There are things around the world. So, like the Persona 5 soundtrack is mostly acid jazz, which is insane.
You would never, expect.
Exactly. So, like,
exactly.
I don't think it's... Would you be interested in writing for a AAA game? What sort of AAA game do you think would happen?
This is gonna sound very shallow, but I'm interested in money, and I ain't turning down a AAA offer if there is one, like just for stability's sake, and
it's
my
nice
personal.
To be able to live,
right. But I also don't want to like romanticize it and make it seem like it's. I'm sure it has its drawbacks, being AAA. I mean, I have a very blessed schedule right now, so I don't want to do anything to jinx that. Yes, I would totally be interested in working on a AAA, and what style? Any style that would have me, honestly. Like, I've always fantasized about being one of Rocket League's anthems. I mean, that's like, would be for me like.
I reckon that could happen, though.
Yeah, maybe. They're not technically AAA, right?
No.
I mean, not until they were bought out by Epic, but
yeah. we'll push for that one. Marskye and Rocket League.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite games, so that would be like ultimate dream come true. Yeah.
Sounds great. So Boyfriend Dungeon is all about romance and dating, and the music sometimes is kind of relaxed and a little bit nostalgic at times, I feel like, as well. But the past year has been pretty,
rough.
Not great. It's been pretty rough. Working on songs, essentially love songs throughout COVID, has that been difficult throughout lockdown and stuff like that? Or?
Yeah, getting inspiration to even want to just work on music to begin with is a challenge in itself. So I would say, like, just from the COVID, first of all, I just want to start by saying other people have it way worse than me. Okay. But also, just to find the courage to, not the courage, but like the strength just to get through the day is, and then like to incorporate music into that and be like, okay, I gotta be a creative here, and I gotta like, but also, like I said, I also like to chase that flow state, and when I'm in that state, I don't even remember that there's COVID, so it's it's good. Another thing I want to add too is that the soundtrack was basically 98% finished before COVID even happened. So it was I had officially finished it by 2019. It was like I had all the songs done pretty much. I think, everything was like all the 25 tracks were finished by 2019, by late like December, and then COVID happened, and but I since COVID started, I had only just done like little tweaks just to get it ready for release. So I wasn't really working on them actively. Me and Madeline had finished our collaboration by 2019.
Sounds good. Is there a song what's the song that means the most to you on the soundtrack?
Means the most. They all like meant something to me at some point. I would say. Well, during the writing of a lot of them, I connected with each one. Honestly, I would say, except for maybe like Pocket's theme, because that's silly. But right. But the rest of it, I really like, and like the fact that it took 4 years to write the soundtrack. Like I was like in different emotional states throughout the whole time. I had my own breakups, my own relationships, and different things happened to me. So, but I would say, all in all, probably Never Lose and Let Them Leave are my favorite tracks. And as far as meaning, it like it's the core meaning, like which one means more to me. I think probably Let Them Leave is more like I connect with it a little more.
I really like Let Them Leave, actually. There was one I was thinking, like, what would I say? Obviously not the one that, because I haven't worked on it, but like, what song would I say? What song would I pick out? And Let Them Leave is the one that I would pick out. To highlight myself and just go, you know what? I just really like this song. I think it's great.
Yeah, I love her vocals on it. I like how simple the song is, just the progression. It's not
simplicity of the synth that really gets it, actually, I think.
Exactly, and that's the kind of like the stuff that I like to write, is like, I mean, that's the hardest stuff to make, right? Like where it's like you want it to be simple and minimal, but also like good. And I have a lot of trouble doing that, kind of like reeling back or cutting my stuff down. That's a big, when you have like a big thing, a big project, and you're like, okay, what doesn't work. You don't want to be too precious about your parts or parts that you've written. I'm getting a little too far from the main idea here, but Let Them Leave is like, it just hits it for me on terms of the like how I kind of was hoping things would sound.
That's cool.
That makes, or the direction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Without a Weapon. I mean, that's obviously, but at this point I've heard that song 30,000 times, so I even forget to mention that it's like one of my favorite, you know. So that was the second song we wrote.
Oh, cool.
So it immediately like strike the themes of the game and the album, especially with the lyrics.
Yes, the lyrics are very on point with that one.
Yeah.
Is there one that you get? So you sort of were talking about, like, you've heard it 30 million times. Is there anything that you just get sick of? You're like, I don't want to hear this anymore. Stop.
Oh yeah. I'd say like at this point it was like the whole album is like I've heard every track like at least 100 times, you know. Easily. I mean, it's just because I've had to reiterate and work on them and give loops and, you know, all this, the whole game side of things. Just by default, you have to listen to it so many times to make things work. And then when her vocals got added, that was like another layer of just a lot of work. You know, it was just a lot of matter of like editing her vocals, cutting them, and then like processing them, and then you know, there is some auto-tune used in spots, and you know, very light, nothing crazy. But I probably Pocket's theme, I was like pretty sick of editing that by the end. I was definitely sick of working on that one, I'll be honest. Yeah, and also my computer was getting old by the time I was wrapping up the soundtrack, and my projects were like taking 5 to 10 minutes to just open, like with Madeline's vocals and all the processing and all the stuff I had going on, and like and it's my first time working with vocals, so I'm like inherently already like unorganized because I'm new to it. So anyways, but probably Pocket's theme easily, probably the one that I got sick of.
Talking about Pocket's theme
early on.
It reminds me very much. I'm sure. Do you know Anna Managuchi?
Yes, they actually influenced a little bit of the album.
Yeah. There's a track called Meow, and then when I heard Pocket's theme, I was like, Meow.
Yeah, no, totally. They actually they collaborate with a singer called Mish on a few tracks. And no, their sound actually, it definitely, just in a peripheral sense, influenced some of Boyfriend Dungeon, just like in the general order of things. Yeah,
that's fair. I think that's their,
because they have like a nice, really slick video gamey, but mixed with an alternative rock kind of sound that is cool.
Absolutely, yeah. It's because it's so gamey. I think they sort of, I guess, rocketed to success through that sort of gamification, like gamey nature of the way they sound. And then they did the Scott Pilgrim soundtrack and
yes,
stuff, which is big stuff, I guess. You know?
Yeah, for sure. And they're great. I also try not to take too much from them because of the video gamey aspect, because I kind of, it definitely, one of my main goals with the soundtrack was to completely steer clear of game music. I mean, with the exception of like a couple tracks on the album.
Yeah.
Flutterbug and
gamey. Yeah, it's more.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's more like a pop album than a sort of a game album, I guess.
Yeah, I like writing a lot of like electronic music in general. So in general, my stuff just doesn't sound. I try not to sound video gamey because I don't listen to a lot of, I guess you'd say chiptune, or anything that's like in the stereotypical sense game music.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So what's next for you? What's on your radar next? Are you allowed to tell us what's next?
Yeah, I'm collaborating with some amazing folks in a company called Outer Loop Games, and they made Falcon Age. It's a VR falconeering game where you got like a falcon. It's really cool, and it's got a strong anti-colonial sentiment about it. I love it. And they're out in Seattle, and I'm actually collaborating with them on their next project. If you want, actually, if you just go to YouTube or marskye.com, it's the first thing. You can actually hear the new music that I'm writing for this project, and it's a collaboration between Outer Loop and Annapurna.
Annapurna,
really cool.
Pretty big now, aren't they, as well?
Oh yeah, and so it's very different from Boyfriend Dungeon, but there's gonna be maybe some similarities in just terms of I don't know, overall wackiness. Maybe.
Wackiness, you say?
Yes. But yeah, that's the next thing. Very, very excited about it.
Cool. And where can
that's gonna have a lot of music, probably more tracks than Boyfriend Dungeon.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
There's not a lot of tracks in Boyfriend Dungeon. It sort of fits into the album.
People keep saying that, and I'm like, that's the most music I've ever written in my life.
I feel like I don't know how many there actually are, but like, okay, actually scrolling down now, there are a fair amount. But I keep feeling like it hits into like the album kind of thing, you know, like I know it's not, but I kind of sort of think, oh, there's like 10 to 12, but there's like, like loads. And I'm like,
I think it's just like it's sonically dense, I guess you could say. Like it's a short number of tracks maybe for a game, but each track has its like each track is thick, if you will.
Exactly.
With a couple C's.
I get that. So where can we find the soundtrack for Boyfriend Dungeon? Where is it?
Best way to support me is Bandcamp. You could just go to marskye.com and then go to listen. All my stuff's up there. You can go to Bandcamp from there. You can go to Spotify, and then just Marskye. Type it into Apple Music, YouTube, whatever you want. My stuff should come up.
Cool. Sounds good. Thank you very much, Ramsey, for joining us. It's exciting to hear.
No problem, Adam.
What you've been working on, and I can't wait to hear some more stuff from you. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been good. Thank you for having me.
And for more interviews with games creators and gaming related content, please subscribe to Sometimes Video Games. Thank you very much for watching.